Hello everyone and welcome to another high-low game of Age of Empires. Today we've got a battle of the castle discounts as MbL playing as the Franks in red prepares to take on Hera playing as the Slavs in blue. Now while the players heard their herdables explore their immediate very much desolate surroundings because we find ourselves yet again on Sandrift, which if you haven't seen my previous casts on this map, lots of dead space around the town centers and in this trench in the middle, and lots of cracked terrain, which makes buildings very, very unstable and very at risk. And while the players try to get their butts up to Castle Age ASAP because we are yet again on Empire Wars, why don't we take a look at the Civ matches as MbL? Is he going to notice that this is not fully walled off? Yes, he does. So he's going to be able to get into Hera's base. Maybe not. Oh my goodness. What looked like a very nice attempt to scout has turned out to be an absolute bloodbath here for our Frank, who looks like he's going to lose the first unit in the game. First blood drawn not by Hera's military, but by Hera's villager population. These four ladies absolutely kicking ass. In any event, the ass they kicked was the Frankish ass in the OG cavalry civilization, harkening all the way back to the last century with the first AoE2. Their knights come with extra line of sight. All of their mounted units get 20% more HP starting in the Feudal Age, and their stables can be upgraded to work 40% faster so that they can start pumping out those cavalry units. Now, to support their cavalry, the Franks can turn to their unique unit, the Throwing Axeman, a ranged melee unit that, as it sounds, throws a massive war axe at its opponents. Now, in order to train as many Throwing Axemen as possible, Frankish castles do cost 15% less stone in Castle Age and 25% less stone in Imperial. Economically, the Franks do get two very powerful food-related bonuses, as their foragers do work faster than normal, and they get all mill upgrades for free. Oh no, our Frankish spearman has had enough of living, has wandered into the far recesses of the Slavic base, only to be chased by this other spearman in perhaps the slowest, most boring chase in Age of Empires history, as he should take one more poke. Surprise Hera isn't using some of these villagers to try to poke this. I think they do attack on a 3, which means with the 0 melee armor of the spearman, he will die. And now the kill count is 2-1, because while yours truly was focused on this battle, it looks like there was perhaps another kill out on the map. Uh-oh. MbL, both players actually losing villagers. Will have seen that in picture, but as our Slav begins flexing his military muscle, let's take a look at that civilization. I do apologize, my mouse froze up for a second. I did change the battery recently. In any event, the Slavs, a civilization that, as we can see, wastes absolutely no time getting all up in the grill of their opponents. Their infantry, which already gets supplies and gambesons for free, can be upgraded to do trample damage. Their siege workshop units are all 15% cheaper. Their monks are the fastest moving in the game, and their unique unit, the Boyar, is basically a mounted tank, being a very heavy cavalry unit with lots and lots of armor. Now, in order to train as many Boyars as possible, Slavic castles can be upgraded to have almost half of their stone cost replaced with wood, and Slavic farmers do gather food 15% faster than generic villagers. And oh, by the way, if you need wood to build those castles, well, the Slavs do need to spend less on their houses, because every single barracks, archery range, stable, and siege workshop provides 5 population space, just as if it were a house. So those are the two civilizations we've got before us. MbL, once burned, twice shy, wants nothing to do with the Slavic army. He has managed to kill 3 Slavic villagers. Hera has killed the one that we saw over here. And look at this. For the first time on Sandrift, we see a player attempting to create a massive wall off MbL. Okay, carving an absolute giant chunk of the map out for himself. Hera also, by the way, let's zoom out. It looks like MbL's chunk is a little bit bigger than Hera's chunk, because he is incorporating the very much forward position, whereas Hera wants nothing to do properly and wisely with this cracked earth. MbL says, me neither. I'm just gonna wall around it. Now, this map, Sandrift, why is it such a fun map? It not only forces your opponent to get up in your face by placing infrastructure right inside of your base, or right in front of your base, not inside your base, apologies, because you can't build anything on this weird looking shifty snake skin, alligator skin looking terrain which is why you'll see both town centers absolutely barren, desolate wastelands, except for a few warning skeletons and some dead trees. You cannot build, and then anything you build on cracked earth, cracked terrain, whatever structure's center point touches that cracked terrain. Let's imagine where my mouse is the center point of 3x3 tiles. If that center touches, it takes 20% more damage when it's attacked. Oh, okay, Spearman missing an opportunity to get a few pokes off, perhaps not paying attention as he is firmly invested as MbL, our Frank, in attacking into the northern shores of the Slavic base. He's brought a monastery, which I'm surprised he can build here. I guess there's it's more on the sand than it is on this, like I said, looks kind of like a snakeskin leather wallet or a purse or something. MbL's trying to bust in. Hera's trying to keep him out. The classic game of will they, won't they, as one player tries to penetrate, the other does not want to be penetrated, as he brings back his 5 scouts that have a good amount of kills. And our Frank wants to do something with this villager. I'm not too sure what he wants to do at this moment. We are firmly in the Castle Age. Both players at 43, 45 villager population. So basically identical economies. Military supplies, a little bit more in favor of the Frank, who's added a few pikemen and a knight. Whereas Hera's going up to 6 knights and the original 5 scouts that we saw. Where are they now? Still patrolling. Looking for an opportunity to do exactly what he's about to do, which is try to snipe the monk. But these are just scouts. They need 3 attacks to kill the monk. They managed to get 1. They managed to get 2. 5 scouts who have outlived their purpose, outlived their usefulness for 2 monks is an absolute fantastic get there for Hera, who deletes his own house just so he can start chasing this band of scouts that have penetrated. And now they're going to try to return the favor by getting a villager or 2. They do get 1. The knights are stronger, but because of all the armor, because of everything they're wearing, they are much slower. I love that Hera, with his dying breath, the villager managed to try to block those little scout units from escaping, and he's trying to do it again. He's trying to corral them in, trying to make sure those knights can close in and use their stronger attack. What the hell is this? All right, MbL, ultra aggressive in this game. I like it. I mean, the Franks are a civilization that you want really pushing out that more powerful cavalry. In general, cavalry in early to mid Castle Age is the most dominant force. So there are some, of course, exceptions, but on the whole, you want your cavalry. Knight gets converted. Will he get reconverted? Yes, he does. Brought back to the fold. Now, what happens now? You lost the knight to the conversion, then you convert him back. Does he benefit from upgrades? I'm going to keep my mouse on this knight in case MbL. I don't know, because when you convert an enemy unit, it no longer benefits from the upgrades you research. It's basically frozen in time. What happens if you reconvert it? Looks like MbL's abandoned his construction project here as Hera says, I like the idea of getting this gold since it's on my side of the frickin' map. So I'm going to get it and build a town center with no fewer than what looks like a dozen villagers. So our cavalry civilization is going pikemen. Our infantry civilization is going cavalry. The world makes no sense. And so stay indoors. Sanitize your hands. Get off of Twitter. Because there's a lot of weird shit happening so far in this game. Kills basically identical. Our Frank has killed a lot more villagers than our Slav, but our Slav has killed a lot more military than our Frank, and this is beautiful. This is why I love random houses on your opponent's side of the map, because Hera now has to spend a little bit of time, a little bit of energy trying to get rid of those houses. Otherwise, not only will they give MbL obviously housing supply and population space, but also very much spotting vision, as bad as it is for a house. Ooh, no, I took my mouse off the cavalry. I took my mouse off the knight. MbL, what is happening? He's leading Hera on a whole bunch of chases. Hera tries to return the favor, loses a knight. It looks like he tried to penetrate the southeastern portion of the Frankish base. Oh, and a trap laid by the Frank. Will he get? No, Hera deletes. MbL is playing fantastically. I mean, Hera always plays fantastically. I shouldn't. Nobody ever plays always fantastically. Hera's playing almost always does play fantastic, and so far he has managed to even up the kill count. But MbL is something else this game with that trap here and going pikeman. Now, I guess you do need to go pikeman here as the Franks, right? Because the Frankish cavalry feature of 20% more HP. I've said this before, I'll say it again, and I'll say it many, many a time. Oh, by the way, he's gonna spot a little bit of this with the goats. When the developers giveth, the developers very much taketh, and so because of that, the Franks, like the Burgundians we saw yesterday, do not get bloodlines. So right now, a typical knight with bloodlines has 120 HP, whereas a Frankish knight has 100 HP, but 20% extra with the civilization bonus. And so they're pretty much on par at the moment. It's really when you get into Cavaliers and, more importantly, Paladins that you start noticing the difference in HP. A Frankish Paladin, 192 HP to a Bloodline Paladin of 180. Looks like I'm not going to get to see my Knight live long enough to answer the question of whether you convert/reconvert your unit if he benefits from any upgrades. Knight to the bottom left survives. Knight to the top does not survive. I really don't know who came on top. It looks like Hera's got 9 extra kills, but again, MbL has more villager kills. Right as I say that, Hera gets his second of the game, and for all intents and purposes has cleaned up the northern shores of his base. Now, whereas the Frankish castle discount of 15% in Castle Age, 25% in Imperial, that's an automatic feature. The replacement, I still call it a discount because you're saving on the precious resource in exchange for a trash resource. The discount for the Slavs has to be researched. You have to research detonates first, and to do that, you need a castle for which you have to pay full price. And there's some of that cheaper siege waiting. He sees so many pikemen. Why the hell not go discounted scorpions? Not exactly as cheap as a Roman scorpion, but it'll get the job done as the players disengage. Good time for us to take a look at what's going on around the map. Our Slav, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 town centers. Our Frank, okay, 4. Not bad at all. Civilian population, identical military population. One has 14 pikemen, one has 14 knights. That pikemen move forward. They saw the castle being placed down. He still has a few houses here. Not too sure what destroyed that, or maybe he deleted it. Maybe it was foundation. A second castle for our Slav, a first castle for our Frank, who now feels comfortable enough to move out. Has he seen the siege workshop with the flags? No, he hasn't. Oh, that is very bad news, Bears, for our Frank. The last thing you want if you've gone full hardcore pikemen is 5 scorpions to pop out and absolutely bolt you to death. Now, they don't get ballistics like the Roman scorpion, which I think might be the best scorpion in the game at this point, right? I mean, the Khmer scorpions have the extra range, or Khmer, if you want to pronounce it like that. Goats. Oh my god, the goats are even exploring Hera. I mean, this is why I said the guy always plays amazing. Who the hell at the 23-minute mark of a game of an Empire War game would be exploring the map with goats? But I think on the whole, the Roman Scorpion does get a huge amount of features and bonuses, and who discovers the presence of a second castle. No ballistics. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. The trench is about to be bloodied with the blood and armor of somebody here. Ooh, not sure this was the best time to reveal it. Oh, never mind. Never mind at all. It was the absolute perfect time to reveal your scorpions. They take a bunch of more bolts. The only one that dies is the goat. And a converted pikeman. Wow, I thought that was going to be a lot worse for those Frankish pikemen who, in 18 seconds, are going to have herbal medicine. They're going to heal up, I believe, 72 HP per minute, 6 times faster inside a castle. Imperial Age, 20 seconds away for our Franks, still 2 minutes away. But let me know in the comments, which scorpions do you think are the best? Maybe I'll make it a community poll. Maybe I'll do that before. I've tried to make my community posts and the polls. They're fun. And I think Scorpion is a good one. So don't write it in the comment. Wait a day or two after you watch this video and then go check out the community poll. I'll put up a community post about which Scorpion is the best. I suspect it's the Roman. right? You can upgrade them to fire faster. Their minimum range is 1, which is one of their biggest weaknesses. Uh-oh, speaking of biggest weakness, is this open? No, okay. Luckily for red, there are a few patches of stone there. Now Hera's making an issue trying to bust into the base here. Both players, by the way, have expanded to the shorelines of this dry riverbed. Not too sure where that Treb thinks it's going. MbL expanding with 2 siege workshops and another barracks, 1 siege workshop, and a castle. Make that 2 castle. And remember, every single barracks that gets plopped down here, that's 5 more population space, which explains why Hera already... Actually, no, they're both at the exact same population. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Knights have to be careful. Knights have to be careful. Oh, he looked like he wanted to trap him with a palisade gate. That would have been absolutely... Oh, it's with this villager. I thought it would be with this. He like me, thought that the villager could move forward here. Oh, no, that's a sour. I mean, he looks like he got a few knights. 1, 2, 3 knights, but that could have been so much worse for Hera. There's Hussar, there's Druzhina to give his infantry trample damage. Another converted pikeman becomes an enemy halberdier who gets gangbanged by 3 former Frankish friends. A lot of upgrades for our Slav, no upgrades for our Frank at the moment, who is pumping out military. He is ahead more than double the military count of his opponent. Now a lot of it is in halberdiers, and he's starting to mix in hand cannoneers. Hera transitioning to halberdiers right as MbL susses it out and goes hand cannoneers, which, if you weren't familiar, come with a +10 attack bonus against infantry. If I can freaking click one. +10 attack bonus against infantry, which means these halberdiers are going to absolutely melt, not only in the face of 3 castles here, but a whole bunch of hand cannoneers. And let's see it. Knights try to close in on the Trebs, halberdiers. Yeah, you cannot fight Imperial Age units with Castle Age. As cool as a Hussar is, which is pretty cool, the Knights are absolutely slaughtered and they all disappear, all to get 1 Treb. And now the Frankish Wrecking Ball castle down for the Slav. Treb exposed. This is about as bad a situation as you can get here for Hera. Forget all the side attacks that were the trademark of this game earlier. Forget all of the shenanigans. Our Frank wants to end it, and he wants to end it now. He's moving forward. Even more hand cannoneers. He's going up to 31 hand cannoneers. Where is the siege for our Slav? Where is anything now? It really, really sucks for the Slav right now, because there are 2 units. Actually, wait, I'm gonna finish my thought after we see how much damage these Hussars do. 1 BBC down. He only gets 1 bombard cannon. That was atrocious. Now the 2 units you might want to counter the Frankish infantry and to counter the bombard cannons are hand cannoneers and bombard cannons of your own. Those are 2 units that the Slav does not get at all. That being said, their siege is still 15% cheaper, and I don't see any siege. Hera's going Hussars. He's going to try to meat shield the hell out of this Frankish army. By the way, with another castle, but the Frank, 30 seconds from Blast Furnace. 30 seconds from this castle going down. Hera knows he's plopped down a backup castle, but look at the mini-map. All of a sudden, there are flashing lights all along the front. And the good news, bad news of the Slavic feature where the barracks and the stable count as 5 population space is when you lose those structures, you lose 5 population space. MbL says, I have so many villagers, I just need more army. And so he moves forward with his basic bitch villagers. These are not Spanish. These are not Incan. These are not even Pole villagers that might even regenerate to live a little longer on the battlefield. These are just basic villagers, and they are about to get absolutely wrecked by those Hussars. Another castle down. What's this blue blob here? Hera moving in now. Agree, disagree. If you see your opponent throwing villagers away, that means your opponent wants to make more room for army. And if your opponent wants to make more room for army, the last thing you want to do is give him that free of charge. I don't know that this is necessarily what Hera should be focusing on with his Hussars. He needs a big hammer. He needs to face Wrecking Ball with Wrecking Ball, especially now, by the way, that MbL's army is kind of carved up into halves and thirds and groups. I know their skirmishers are shit. They're missing Bracer, but maybe a few skirmishers would help here. He is trying to rear end the BBCs. Oh no. Oh no, indeed. The Hussars looked like they were in a bit of a trance. Look at the army count. MbL has 6 times more army than his opponent. And that's what happens when you have 6 times more army. I get Hera's instincts. As I've said many times, as he himself has done many times, when he gets attacked and pressed into, his natural inclination is to fight back. But when your opponent has signaled to you that they're ready to throw away 10 villagers to make more room for army, I don't know that killing villagers is necessarily the most prudent course of action. I don't know. I feel like in that case, you're helping your opponent, right? Your opponent wants to get rid of villagers. At least make him take his villagers and right-click them all the way here. Make them walk and waste time until they get to the front lines. Don't go and kill them inside the base, because this is what happens. Your opponent just replaces the army count. Hera ends the game down about 54 army total population, even though he has more villagers. MbL doesn't need more villagers. He's got his army of 24 hand cannoneers. He's got his 3 bombard cannons, although that could be a little bit higher. The count, I mean, not MbL, who, based on the gameplay that I've seen out of him today, was not high at all while playing this. I don't think somebody high would have had the ability. What was his PKPM? I think PKPM must be higher than Hera's. No. Interesting. Middle of the game, or towards the end of the game for Hera. Interesting. I thought for sure MbL's PKPM with all the multi-pronged attacks, and he's even raiding with halberdiers. Oh, goodness gracious. This is just so annoying. They're not going to kill the villagers quickly, but countering them with your Hussars is going to be a nightmare, because they're going to be able to absolutely trash these Hussars with 95 HP with their plus 32 attack bonus against cavalry. MbL just absolutely brute forcing his way with hand cannoneers and halberdiers, bombard cannons, and trebs. Our cavalry civilization goes infantry, our infantry civilization goes cavalry, and the world is indeed topsy-turvy. 2 houses are still here, but what an absolute epic game. Let's take a look at the stats. A lot of halberdiers, not a lot of anything for Hera, who unfortunately was switching here and there. MbL obviously had a game plan here, and he followed it. Economy, I can't see them being that terrible apart. Yeah, for the majority of the game, the economies were not dissimilar. So what is this, about 8,000? So yeah, about 15% bigger economy for our Slav, who takes all of the resources in addition to 3 relics. Although he ends the game with 0. MbL ends the game Mr. Yoing those relics, it looks like, and taking them for 162 gold. So 800 gold, not the end of the world. Where did the biggest difference lie? 800 stone, about 2,000 gold, 4,000 food. Yeah, it's mostly food is the difference here. Food and a bit of relic gold. 12 conversions by Hera out of 20 or 214 is just about half, or maybe 5 or 6% of the Frankish army. 8 out of 186 is 4%, 5%. 36 buildings destroyed by the Franks, of course. He was the one pushing in, but what an absolute wrecking ball. Total kills, MbL 70 more kills than his opponent and 15 more villagers. So interestingly enough, villager kill not the highest. And honestly, I don't think MbL, like I said, really minded it. Let me know what you think. But the combination here that MbL put together, I don't know that Hera was expecting 31 hand cannoneers. And Hera loves to play with his Hussars, and this is a Hussar killing army. The only thing this army is missing is Arquebus for these hand cannoneers. Aside from that, there is no Hussar. I mean, look at the battlefield. Do you see what's the ratio of red dead to blue dead? What is it, like 10 to 1 here? Absolutely epic. Hera just unable to thwart the absolute insanity that was MbL this game. I mean, the only word I can describe MbL for this game is ferocious. And even though he kind of proved me wrong about the nature of the map, I think it's a map where you're supposed to build structures on your enemy side of the river, because you can't build any. There's no neutral area to build. There's no DMZ. You can't build anything on this. He builds instead 4 castles on his side. So playing a bit more aggressive, like I said, ferocious, but with a bit of civility, a little bit of backup planning in case Hera ever lashes back out. MbL has 4 castles in the forward position that are just absolutely drooling and salivating, waiting to train some of those cheap throwing axemen. This could have been absolutely disastrous for Hera. He could have lost so many knights here. And these halberdiers, I guess, patrolling the mountainside. By the way, these new maps are just absolutely stunning. I love the maps. I love all 11 of them, but ultimately this one with all the dead space, our Frank just makes landfall across the dry riverbed, and as we saw, took the relics, pushed his way through, and nothing Hera had, and nothing that Hera can build right now out of the infrastructure he has left can take this army on. Not even the absolute beast of a unit, the Boyar, and looks like he is lashing out with a few trebs. He does have siege workshops now. Unlike the Bulgarians, researching things is not cheaper. The units themselves are cheaper. So unless Hera researched onager and siege onagers, the Slavs do get every single siege workshop unit except for bombard cannons. So had he maybe had some onagers with this army, maybe even some heavy scorpions, who knows? As long as you can evade the bombard cannonballs, might have stood a better chance, but ultimately no crystal ball needed. We know exactly how this game ends. It is MbL, our Frank, who with the ferocity and the cannon wrecking ball push up the guts of the Slavic base that takes the W, but GG in a really fun matchup to both players. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips and make sure to subscribe and enable notifications so that you're notified of my latest uploads.